Give me a second. 10th Canto, Chapter 4th, verse 23.
Okay.
Yes.
So we'll just do a short Radha Madhav. Did Adipurush Prabhu already do Radha Madhav?
You can do Jai Radha Madhav. You can do it if you feel like.
I'm not going to sing, I'm going to say it. So please forgive me for that.
Yes.
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Jai Kunja Bihari Yes. Om Vishnupad Paramhamsa Parivrajikacharya Stota Sushmachila Abhay Charanaravindra Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraet Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna, everyone. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 4, entitled The Atrocities of King Kamsa, verse 23. We're not going to repeat the Sanskrit, so I'm just going to read through it. Shamadhvam mama dauratmyam sadavo dinavatsala iti uktva shrumukhapadau shyala swasro ratha grahit. Shamadhvam, kindly excuse. Mama, my dauratmyam, atrocious activities. Sadavaha, both of you are great saintly persons. Dinavatsala, and are very kind to poor, cripple-minded persons. Iti uktva, saying this. Ashrumukha, his face full of tears. Pado, the feet. Syala, his brother-in-law. Kamsa, Swasraha, of his sister and brother-in-law. Athadas, Agrahit, captured. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Abhay Charanaravindra Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation: Kamsa begged, my dear sister and brother-in-law, please be merciful to such a poor-hearted person as me, since both of you are saintly persons. Please excuse my atrocities. Having said this, Kamsa fell at the feet of Vasudeva and Devaki, his eyes full of tears of regret. Purport: although Kamsa had spoken very nicely on the subject of real knowledge, his past deeds were abominable and atrocious, and therefore he further begged forgiveness from his sister and brother-in-law by falling at their feet and admitting that he was a most sinful person. Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadanti Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagarjatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। हरे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं Yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurun Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanyam Ishwaram. Hare Krishna, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for having me, Anand Bihari Prabhu. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Before I begin, I beg the blessings of all the devotees so that I can speak something which is in line with the parampara and also inspiring for all of us in our Krishna consciousness and purify our hearts, because this process is Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, and the purpose of this is to give pleasure to Krishna, and by giving pleasure to Krishna, all the unwanted things in our hearts are removed. So we don't need to do something separately to remove our anarthas. We have to engage in the process of devotion service, and the byproduct is actually removing the anarthas. So here we read in this chapter of 4 from Canto 10 that Kamsa has been sharing a lot of knowledge. Basically, was speaking to Vasudeva and Devaki, and I'm sure most of you are there every day, so I'm not going to repeat those things. And today he's specifically speaking how now it has been completely like his plan just went down the drain. So he has changed his mood, and he's asking or begging forgiveness from Vasudeva and Devaki. So he's saying, I'm a very duratmyam. So if you see, one of the words used in that verse is like dauratmyam. So duratma, it comes from the word duratma. So there is a verse in the general Vedic like realm, like manasekam, vachasekam, karmanyekam, mahatmanah, manasanya, vachasanya, karmanyanya, duratmya. So the Vedic scriptures explain. I don't know the exact scripture which is quoting this. That's why I'm saying it's a generic Vedic knowledge, in my opinion. So I don't know the source of it, but it's widely used. So manasa ekam, vachas ekam, karmanyekam, and the other one is manasanya, vachasanya, and karmanyanya. So here he is thinking something, speaking something else, and doing something altogether differently. So all things, like all three-dimensional personality is not like a unidimensional personality, not aligned, completely aligned. Nobody is like not aligned in this world. They are aligned to something. So here this multi-directional is basically he is aligning with his selfish desires, because internally we cannot say everything that we think. So we think in a certain way, because if we say all that we think, probably we'll get stoned to death. So then you speak something which is very like decorated, so that like people can respect us. So that is another selfish desire, because we want to be respected. So we speak in a certain way which will be most pleasing for most people to hear, and like duplicity, or you can call it diplomacy, however it is used in the context. And you may say big things, like you see people like they can really speak big things, like I'm trying to do that today on the Vyasasana. So, and then you go out in your own sphere, so you act completely differently, because there is a selfish desire to enjoy. We can't express all that we think, and we can't perform all that we say, because we say really good things, but while it comes to action, then we are completely different. So this is the sign of a duratma. This is a sign of a person who is not completely purified. His desires are not aligned with Krishna. Whereas a sign of a Mahatma is manas ekam, vachas ekam, karmanyekam. He thinks, he speaks, and he does. Everything is according to the scriptures, because here this particular Vedic verse that whatever I quoted, it's traditional wisdom, I would say, is like half a wisdom. Because these days you can see there are a lot of people who think, speak, and act, and they are not for sure Mahatmas, because what they think, what they speak, and what they do is all rubbish. So just by this formula of what you think and what you speak and what you do is all same, you become Mahatma, then a lot of people in this world will become Mahatma. But Bhagavad Gita says, who is a Mahatma? This is one who takes shelter of Krishna, one who takes shelter of the internal energy, one who takes shelter of the instruction of the spiritual master. He is a Mahatma. So this way, this traditional wisdom is like, I would say, like at best, like half of it is in the proper context, it holds true, but it could be, if it is like taken out of context, a lot of people will fit into that category of Mahatma, because they may think and act and like speak also in that way. It may be very aligned. So here we can see Kamsa, he had huge plans and he acted in a certain way, and he spoke also all these while in certain ways. And as soon as the plan like kind of backfired, so immediately his mood changed. He is now asking for forgiveness, and it's going to change immediately the overnight. He's going to meet his ministers and it's going to change overnight. Again, he will act in a different way. So it's completely aligned with his selfish desires. So there is no value for what these people say. So today in this world, like a lot of advertisement goes like, we are here just to make your life better, or like, yeah, you see like, especially it's very interesting, the brands have a like a motto, like a small statement, I don't know what you say, it just goes behind, like, we are here to make your life better, we are here to serve you, we are here to love you. And it's all basically until you empty your pockets. So once your pocket is empty, they love, care, and they're making your lives better, like goes out of the window. They don't care who you are. So it's all like until they take your money. So they speak so many things. So however, here for a Mahatma, it's not just about like, even like great devotees, they want to do welfare for the whole world. They may not have the resources for that, but provide them the resources, they will not change their plan. The plan will not become like, okay, let me just enjoy my senses. No, that will not be the case. So Srila Prabhupada, honestly, he did not have any money when he came to US. And that time also his motto was to help, his mission was to help everyone, spread Krishna consciousness all over the world and make people devotees. That was his vision. He had no money when he was instituting a worldwide movement. He was registering an institution which is considered an international society with not even enough people to sign the trustee papers. They had to catch someone, some of the friends of Mukund Maharaj, who is not even like a fully devotee yet. So he was also a witness. So he didn't, obviously Prabhupada did not have any money even to pay for his storefront for the second month. But his mission was same. And when Krishna gave him everything, when Krishna gave him all the people, resources, name, fame, facilities, his mission was same. He wasn't squandering it for his personal sense enjoyment or anything. So Srila Prabhupada said, Krishna tested me by not giving me anything before, and Krishna is now testing me by giving me everything. And Srila Prabhupada, being a perfect Mahatma, came through both the tests. He stick to his mission when he had nothing, and when he had everything and everyone. So that is the sign of a great soul, Mahatma. So here Kamsa will change his words, will change his actions, and surely his thought patterns does not change, which is he wants to take revenge of Vishnu or kill Vishnu or continue to be an enemy of Krishna. So he holds on to it until the end of his life. So this is one thought that I wanted to share, how a Duratma is a person who thinks and speaks and acts differently, and a Mahatma is a person who thinks, speaks and acts according to the instructions of the spiritual master, scriptures, Krishna. So this is one thing that I wanted to share. So I would like to open up if anybody has anything to share on this particular point here. Yes, here we have Jai Jagannath Prabhu.
The verse Rava Bhakta.
We can hear him. Online
Okay.
people can hear Jai Jagannath.
You can speak to this. No, I disconnected my microphone. You should be able to speak.
So we said they're not devoted.
No, we can hear.
Carnal things.
Clear now?
They're saying they cannot hear.
Now we can. Thank you.
No, I'm asking. I don't know.
What is Jai Jagannath?
Wisdom is an imposition of life.
Can you hear now?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes.
Yeah, they said they can hear. I think
Okay.
it's still can just hear.
Yes, we can hear. Go ahead, Jai Jagannath.
I've tried my best to the technology. Okay, bro, you say, I'll repeat.
So many times I've heard in devotee sanghas push back interpretation of this verse. They don't have a kinship of bhakti. Then they don't have any good qualities. So the question is, where are the good qualities? Simply they're on the chariot of mind. And as you said, spiritual pocket is simply they shift here. So in other words, they're changed in nature. How do you respond to devotees who feel a little pinched by the statement that if they're not devoted, they have no qualities? On the one hand, on the other hand, if they are devoted, they're supposed to have all the qualities of the devotees. In God, what we look in our sanghas, we may not see that also. So on the one hand, we see devotees, and we see bad qualities of the devotees, and that seems to contradict Srimad Bhagavatam. Right, so how do we respond to this?
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Brother, are you going to repeat that? Because I didn't hear the question.
Okay. I'm going to repeat to you the question. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So, Jai Jagannath was saying from this Bhagavatam verse, like how a non-devotee, he is on the mental plane and he does not have any good qualities. Rather, a devotee, he is like develops all good qualities of the demigods. He manifests all the good qualities of the suras, demigods. And Jai Jagannath was like asking like how we sometimes see good qualities in non-devotees, and we see bad qualities in the devotional sangha. So it kind of seems like a contradiction to the Srimad Bhagavatam verse. So how do we understand this? I would say for the Bhagavatam verse, there are devotees are also in different standards, and Srimad Bhagavatam like generalizes in that verse, like a devotee who's like practicing. So if Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave different, like who is a devotee, who is a Vaishnava, every time he gave different reasons. So some devotees are manifesting, but like yet to fully manifest. Some devotees have manifested to very high quality that everybody can kind of recognize. Some are like beginning to manifest. That's always there, this challenge. So I would also say from an individual perspective, who's like trying to reconcile this, from an individual's perspective, he should think, okay, how much of my vision is like really appropriate according to the scriptures, and how much I have already manifested. So to that extent, we will also be able to reconcile things, because the same scripture also says like 9.31. Can you begin the verse for me? Api chetu duracharo bhajate mam ananyabhak sadhureva. So the scripture is also giving, okay, even if a devotee is performing abominable activities, as soon as we say, it's like almost indigestible for most people, including me also. Sometimes it's very difficult. But Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur says one who cannot accept this is actually not a devotee. Actually, one who cannot see good qualities in other devotees, cannot understand that, okay, here is a devotee who's fully committed to Krishna. So he's going to manifest those active and those qualities. And still, because we think, okay, until then, but no, scripture says not until then. Even now, he is already a sadhu. So which is like quite a heavy thing to deal with, because we have seen all kinds of things, and we continue to see in the devotional circle, in generic spiritual circles, like every year there is like a scandal that comes out. Like if not within the Hare Krishna movement, in general, people who are known as spiritually elevated, something or other, in various traditions, religions, everywhere this kind of pops out. Okay, somebody is discovered like they were acting and speaking in they were like speaking in certain ways and acting in public in certain proper standards, but in private they were not keeping it up. So I think that falling short is because of one's uncontrolled senses and mind. And if they're continuing to practice devotional service, we have to respect them maybe from a distance, because we saw this equality in vision. that scripture sometimes speaks is not equality in reciprocation, because Chaitanya Rupa Goswami himself gives, with different devotees how do you deal, with different people how do you deal. So both are there. It's not just with devotees and non-devotees we have a different standard of behavior. At the same time, even within devotees we have different levels of reciprocation. Not, I wouldn't say behavior, because that people means that can like be taken in a different way. Different levels of reciprocation with someone who is like an equal, somebody is friendly with somebody who's like beginning the devotional service, then they can be more like act like a guide. Somebody with a senior, they can be actually taking guidance. And Narada Muni says this is a sign of non-enviousness, because if a person is willing to help someone who is new and not like kind of look down on them, upon them, and willing to make friendship with equals and not be in a competitive mode with them, and to take shelter and like guidance from a senior and not feel envious of them, why is this guy like respected better, or why is he being given a certain honor or anything, not feeling envious towards that, is overall a sign of non-enviousness. So even if we sometimes otherwise feel, we have to like stick to the proper kind of action externally, at least keeping up the etiquette. So that way gradually the heart is purified, and we don't manifest any good quality by our own strength. It comes naturally, because all the good qualities that Krishna says in the chapter 12 of Bhagavad Gita, Maitra Karuna Eva Chadveshta Sarva Bhutanam. So the interesting word in all those verses is he says the devotee who manifests these qualities are very dear to me. The devotee who manifests these qualities are very dear to me. Even when he mentions about that particular person practicing devotional service, he does not say a person who practices devotional service. He says a person who practices devotional service with determination, because already the word bhakta is used in all those verses. So that means he is already a devotee. But when his devotion is done with determination, plus when he manifests all these qualities, then he becomes dear to me. He's already a devotee. Krishna is not like saying anybody who does this. Only a devotee who manifests this quality is dear to me. He's not saying a yogi who manifests these qualities or anything like that. He's very, very categorically defining it. But when it comes to devotion service, he says he does with determination. So all these good qualities is manifesting from that central quality of being a devotee and practicing devotional service with determination. And only when these qualities are manifesting, not for us to be known as great or Mahatma, for us to be able to give more pleasure to Krishna. Because the idea is not that a devotee is not attached to be known as anything, except like he knows, okay, if I behave like this, Krishna is pleased, Guru is pleased. And the more he pleases Krishna and Guru, all these qualities naturally manifest. It's not like, it's now there is a difference between my thinking and my acting. But this gap is bridged by the mercy of Krishna and Guru. This gap becomes very naturally like becomes one. That alignment happens by the mercy of Guru and Krishna. So by sticking to the right standard, as per that Bhagavatam verse, by becoming a devotee, gradually we will manifest good qualities. And until that happens, that's not a license for us to be like behave any way we want. We behave the right way according to Shastras, because that is the way that we give pleasure to Guru and Krishna. And by giving pleasure to Guru and Krishna, we more and more manifest those qualities, and they become natural. They are not like a second nature. It's like it's not even a second nature. It's like the fully manifested qualities. I'm not sure how much I beaten around the bush. I hope like I kind of addressed the question. So anybody else wants to share something? The only difficulty is I cannot be like play with the technology just like this, that whatever you speak will be, all the audience here will be able to hear it. But if somebody wants to share, please go ahead. Okay, here Adipurush Prabhu wants to share. Yes, Prabhu, you can start. I'll try my best to put you on speakers.
We go to the first, we check the right hero. Bhajate Mamananyabhak. The verse says that even if some engages in abominable activities, he's to be considered saintly because he's rightly situated. And then it says, very soon he will become righteous. And Prabhupada gives the analogy, if someone is in the shower, they have the soap, they're cleaning. Maybe they're not totally clean, but they've taken to the process, like you say, with determination. And so that's pleasing to Krishna. And so we appreciate the fact that they're working on themselves and they're trying to please the Lord. And therefore, we say, yes, this is a good person. This is a devotee. This person is pleasing Krishna. Yeah.
Yeah. I hope all of you could hear that. So here, one thread that we discussed, it's already 7:40, maybe another few minutes. The one thread we discussed is about the word Dauratmam that was in the verse, like who is a Duratma, who is a Mahatma, and also there was a very pertinent question by Jai Jagannath Prabhu. So another thread that still I'm trying to think is like how, very interestingly, the behavior of Devaki and Vasudeva. From the beginning, like Maya, she just appeared, Durga Devi, she appeared, and the first thing she said, what is the definition of Maya that Vishnu shares with Lord Brahma is like Riteyatam et pratiyeta na pratiyeta chatmani. Anything that is not me, that is not Krishna, is actually Maya. And in general, Maya is not, it does not exist in that sense, like the independent of Krishna. But also another way of Maya to see is like we say sometimes it's illusion, but another meaning of the word Maya is also false. So here, as soon as she appeared, the first thing she said is a lie. She said, the one who's supposed to kill you is born somewhere else. No, he was born right there in that same prison that she is appearing. He was just born there and then he was transferred. No, the first thing she speaks to Kamsa is like very devoted servant of Maya Devi. The first thing she speaks is like, oh, the guy who's supposed to kill you is born somewhere else. The first thing is like a flat lie. And then the second thing, she actually speaks the truth, and Kamsa could not hear it. She says, all your attempts to kill that person will be in vain. You won't be able to kill. And she's not saying you can try or anything. She says, you won't be. It's not possible for you. So she spoke a lie, which he took very seriously. And she spoke a truth, which like really went above his head. He just did not grasp it. And this is called covering potency and throwing potency. She covered, spoke a lie, he accepted it, and she threw him with a true statement. It didn't just actually get into his head, and he's going to dedicate the rest of his life to achieve what is impossible, that is already declared by the energy of the Supreme Lord, that all your attempts to kill this person will go in vain, and that's what he's going to dedicate his life. So this is what happens when we be very devoted to Maya. We kind of take all those glitter that she shows us very, very seriously. Like all kinds of advertising, movies, news, everything is actually in one sense is also an energy of the external energy. To the extent we are disconnected to Krishna, to that extent external energy manifests there. Because everything can be utilized in Krishna's service, Yukta Vairagya. But the problem is, whether it is Yukta Vairagya depends on how much we manifest Krishna there through our consciousness. Because things in this world, in general, everything else is material apart from the spirit soul. So where is the Krishna going to manifest in the material things? It's from our consciousness. Because Chitta is spirit and Krishna is also spirit. So Krishna is living in our consciousness. If he manifests in our consciousness and then our interaction with the matter can to that extent be spiritual. So it is our responsibility. So first we need to have a barometer. Okay, how much am I manifesting Krishna consciousness at this moment, trying to deal with this particular material object, news, advertisement, and anything else for that matter, even within our road services when we have to deal with matter. To the extent we are spiritually conscious, like to the extent we are Krishna consciousness, Krishna conscious, those things will actually help us to be more and more Krishna conscious. Otherwise, it's very risky. Even within the services, we can corrupt our mood, corrupt our consciousness. What to speak of something which is not related to service? Just browsing news, just browsing Insta feed or reels or like what more, like shorts, everything. So our devotion service is getting cut short. Like the time that we have is like getting cut short by mindlessly like browsing. But that's what is like very attractive, honestly speaking. It's not, these things are designed by very expert people understanding psychology, conditioned psychology. And believe me, like if they have put so much energy in understanding psychology of Krishna through the words of Bhagavad Gita, they'll be like much better devotees. But they have really, really like understood the conditioned psychology, and they implement best things to attract our attention, and Maya manifests there. And in that glitter, when she shows, even though those things are unreal, we take it very, very seriously, like how Kamsa took it seriously. Oh, he's born somewhere else. So these are very real things. This is how you can enjoy life. You go to this restaurant, you go to this place. So like we get very, very seriously absorbed in that, not like what you call the false reality. And then sometimes Maya also says, like, gives us like a kick, means kick in the sense of like how going through frustration, trying to engage with material nature, understanding the futility of material engagements, understanding the temporariness of the material engagements. Everything is given. That knowledge comes through when we already are devotees and try to enjoy this world. We understand somewhere Paramatma gives that knowledge. So when that knowledge manifests through the interaction with the material nature, we push it away. It's okay. Maybe next time I'll be able to enjoy better. So there is some truth that material nature manifests that we try to neglect, and there is something which is inherently false, inherently illusory, and we take it very, very seriously and engage with it. And Kamsa here perfectly displaying or perfectly playing the role of a conditioned soul. He takes that statement of Maya very seriously and engages in more sinful activities. This is a problem with engaging with external energy. We do one thing, it brings out more samskaras from inside, which we were trying to clean. And then that increases now. So there is more mess to clean now. And the more we engage, the mess actually increases. And at a point, we start to think that this mess is actually good. And it's okay to adjust with this and put up with it. And in that way, gradually, Maya makes our sanskaras. We are not putting all the responsibility on Maya. Basically, she is good. She is doing her job. It is us who have like these desires and try to interact. So the responsibility is on us, even though I'm using the language like that. The responsibility is completely on the conditioned soul. So his or her engagement with the material nature actually brings out more and more what you call like the subtle impressions, and makes it more and more manifest in a gross way in our personality. So that's the problem when we take it very seriously and engage with the material nature. Then all our subtle impressions, which we were trying to clean, purify, push aside, or cover it with the carpet, we try all those kind of things with our conditionings, and everything like becomes like completely like grossly starts to manifest, especially when we try to engage with the material nature in spite of knowing that it is false. So that's the problem. And that's why one of the offenses towards chanting the holy name is to maintain the material attachments. It is not said like to have material attachments, but to maintain them. Maintenance, having a plant is something, but a lot of people tend to have plants. They watch some videos saying, oh, it oxidizes the room, this and that, it improves your mood. And they're sleeping at 2 in the morning, waking up at like 10, and they're rushing to office, and then they forget to water the plant. And after 10 days, 15 days, after a month, they realize, oh, there was a green plant here and it's already brown in color and it's dead and gone fully. And so similarly, like we are trying to like maintain the material desires. Like if we had material desires and we became devotees and so busy in devotional service, it naturally dies down. It's somewhere in the corner. It does not disturb us. Okay, it's gradually going to get purified. But maintaining material desires is to like give enough time for it. Dedicate our time for it. Whenever in between our devotional activities we get little time, we dedicate for that to make sure it does not die down. We make sure like it is like kept watered regularly, and then like it is taken care, it is pruned, it is like provided with fertilizer, then it's gone. Our devotional creeper, then that weed will grow very strongly, and our devotional creeper will gradually die down. So that's the problem with maintaining the material attachments, which is very easily facilitated by the technology today. So that's why we need to have like a really high standard of personal integrity to survive in this day and age in devotional service, because the nature of Kali Yuga is to quarrel and be like a hypocrite. So we quarrel as soon as we come with other devotees on not very significant things. On almost like most of the times when devotees quarrel amongst each other, it is based on insignificant things. It could be kept aside and they all can practice Krishna consciousness very happily and inspire others, themselves, inspire the world, please Guru, Krishna, everyone. It's very much possible. But it's the nature of the Kali Yuga that the people of this age cannot actually keep aside insignificant things, even to gain the most eternal thing. Like Krishna says, what is that verse which says, like, one who is intelligent looks after that which is not available in these three worlds? Taseva heto prayateto kovido. So one who's really intelligent looks for that thing which is like not available, which is within this three material world. But we get that and we keep it aside to fight for some details within that. So it's quarrelsome when we come up with others, because that's how Maya actually benefits. Because if she allows people to get together and perform devotional service with so much enthusiasm, she will not have a job to perform. She will not have a place to stay there. So she has to make sure when people come together, they fight for some reason. And it's very easy for her to handle when we are separate, because it's not a big deal like to be a hypocrite in this modern age. So it's very easy that way, but it's the most difficult thing for her to make sure, like, when people come together, they should not be like cooperatively perform devotional service, because then she will not be there. Krishna Surya Sama Maya Hai Andhakar. And wherever there is Krishna, there is not going to be any influence of the material energy. So taking this point seriously for my own practice, like how like there is a natural tendency to be quarrelsome. Sometimes I may not say it outside, but internally I can clearly watch for it. It's a very quarrelsome nature internally, because the ego is very sensitive. The modern ego is like decorated with a huge crown. Every single person is like has that naturally. They have like, means we make turbans for Muralidhar, so likewise all our egos are very nicely decorated every morning, like throughout the day, and it's dressed 3 times a day and offered 6 bogas. Like it's like completely nourished in its appetite is very high. Nobody can even like give a side look. Nobody can ignore even a little. They may not even ignore, but even if we perceive it as someone said a little thing about us, ignored us a little bit, or like took away something which was important for us, we just cannot tolerate it. So that ego actually makes it difficult for us to be cooperative with other devotees when we are in the association. And that ego actually tricks us to be an hypocrite when we are alone, when we are supposed to practice highest integrity. We slip in. Maybe it's a small degree, it's a big degree. Each one has their scale. However, whenever we do that, so we are making our practice more difficult. We have already come somewhere ahead in the flow against the stream. We are like trying to like swim upstream and come against the flow of material nature, but we create trouble by being quarrelsome and a hypocrite. So we can actually pray to Vasudeva and Devaki, how they utilized duplicity or diplomacy in the service of Krishna. Here, how Kamsa got distracted by those words of Maya Devi, and he is begging forgiveness, and they will fully forgive him, but will not utter a single word, say, Kamsa, we completely forgive you. Actually, whom you killed now, she is not my daughter. She is born to Mother Yashoda, and my son is like in Braja. No, the most reliable Vasudeva will not say this to Kamsa. Will not say, oh, my son is in Krishna. The like people in general, I want to be known as good people. Vasudeva has this brand name of, oh, he's this person who will never lie, who will never be like behave in another way, like he is as a Mahatma. Everything is aligned. But his alignment is not just for the sake of aligning. His alignment is Krishna's alignment. So he knows that Krishna was born here and he is now in Vrindavan, but he will not tell that to Kamsa, because his alignment is not just the mundane morality of trying to speak everything that I know is out. No, the morality here is Krishna's morality, is what is good for Krishna's service. So sometimes devotees will trick us to engage in devotional service also. And especially when we have a big ego, we feel like really irritated. What does this person think? He is like tricking me to do this or something like that. However, ultimately it is for Krishna's pleasure. If we utilize that opportunity in the right frame of mind, we will benefit. So we don't know about the other person, but at least we always have the opportunity to benefit in all circumstances in devotional service. If we are to garland our spiritual master and somebody else has the garland, yes, it's an opportunity for us to meditate that we are offering thousands of garlands to the same spiritual master. So every opportunity we have to actually rise above the material petty problems, but it's not very easy. We need the guidance of somebody else. When somebody is humble and approaches and takes guidance, it becomes easy for him in 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 devotional service. Yeah, Krishna Daya Prabhu was saying the example that His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj was giving yesterday, how we think, our perspective towards the same situation, the same circumstance, the same people can completely be spiritual or mundane depending on our perspective. So with these few words, I would open it up. Here we have a question or thought by Jai Jagannath Prabhu.
Earlier in the chapter, Maya was called as Anuja, I think, the younger sister of Krishna. And so Prabhupada in the purport, I guess following the Holy Spirit, he takes it that in order for Maya to be the younger sister of Krishna, that means Yasoda must have given birth to two children. Krishna and then first, then the younger sister came next. And so when Vasudeva came, then the other Krishna merged with that Krishna. That's Krishna is the source of all the avatars. So he merged with that Krishna, and then he took the younger sister with him. So in that sense, Maya was actually telling the truth. That the person who was going to kill you, he was actually born elsewhere. Because that Krishna was actually born in Braj. He wasn't born in house. I know that's like Cambodia, you know.
Mathura beats Vrindavan.
Yeah, and also Gopal.
Yeah.
But when you say like material,
how Jai Jagannath Prabhu was saying that actually Maya did not actually lie, because Krishna was also born to Mother Yashoda, and Vasudev Krishna, who was born to Devaki, was taken by Vasudev Krishna, who was born to Devaki, was taken by Vasudev to Vrindavan, and there he actually combines with the Swayam Rupa Krishna, who is the son of Mother Yashoda. So in that sense, she was not lying. True. And then Yogamaya, who was born to Mother Yashoda, was brought back by Vasudev. That's true. Yeah, it's probably.
I was just wondering, you said material desires. For example, many people have computers, but you can live perfectly fine without it. So in other words, if someone has a computer, unless they're working in a job, and you don't absolutely need it, then is that a material desire which is sinful? Or I'm not clear on the boundary sometimes of what's materials, what is or isn't material desire.
So this is a question by Alan. Alan, okay. So he's saying, what is material, what is spiritual? Because sometimes we can use that for Krishna service, the same thing, and sometimes that could be used for personal desires also. So how do we understand what is material or spiritual? I think in the Chaturshloki Bhagavatam, Krishna kind of explains it very concisely, like how anything that is seen as separate from Krishna is Maya. So inherently there is nothing which is not coming from Krishna. But when I look at this laptop and think, okay, I'm going to do something which is going to give pleasure to me, which is going to satisfy my desires. So instead of thinking of this I'm going to use this to give pleasure to Krishna, that thought, that Maya is manifested there in my consciousness, that I'm trying to see an object which is actually inherently coming from Krishna, related to Krishna. I'm trying to use seeing that as separate from Krishna and trying to use it for my sense gratification. So that is where Maya is manifested, in our consciousness of seeing something separate from Krishna. So Prabhus, there are only a very few minutes. I need to help open the altar. So I'll take your leave. So just we'll wait for the darshan. It's just a minute from now. So Hare Krishna, thank you everyone. Granth Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hare Hare Krishna.
Gaur Sharan Prabhu ki jai. Thank you so much, Prabhu. You haven't given class in a long time, and now you buried my full Sigo for the day at least. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, we have, it's 8 o'clock. The yagya is done. We're stopping on time. Ready to present ourselves before the Muladhar. Gaur Chandra. Yeah, I see everybody taking off their crowns. So nice. Rameshwar Naik, were you in the military? Yes? Were you in the military service?
Yeah, I was in the Prabhu. Yeah.
Shy.
Oh, sorry.
Bhima Prabhu says the suspense.
By default, it is Cousin Prabhu. Yeah.
Yeah.
Change it.
Now Rameshwar Naik is in Srila Prabhupada's army. Yeah, that's right. See, Gaur Sharan is on the altar and he took his time to spend with us to give class. So now the deities are, there's some suspense because of that. I see how Krishna Daya's devotion is growing in separation from Radha Muladhar. Amazing. Yeah, the evil Kali Yuga technology is not showing us Krishna. It's blurring the deities. It's okay, we have our Chakshu Shastra, spiritual vision, and we see the devotees at least. So that's good. That's as good. Okay, Hare Krishna, everybody. Love you all. Haribol. Thank you so much for showing up steadily for this yajna. Yeah, there they are, the deities. Hare Krishna. Jai Shishirada Muladhar Gaur Chandra. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.